Explore exactly what it takes to become a successful day trader and the power of consistency from the minds of the trading's elite. This is the Beyond the PDT podcast. Here are your hosts, Bryce, Tuohey, and Matthew Monaco.
What's up, traders? Welcome to the Beyond the PDT podcast. This is episode 13 with Agent 47. Now, he is a relatively private man, but has decided to come out and talk to us on the podcast. He's a very active member in the My Investing Club community and is a great trader from Norway. Unlike most of our previous guests, he does not strictly trade small cap stocks and instead looks for volatility wherever that may be, whether it's in a large cap around earnings or if he's looking for some of these fast small cap runners. He had some great philosophical insights on how he approaches the trading day, compares it to boxing, and how he splits up the day into 15-minute rounds. And also the most interesting thing I found that he said was he finally got good at trading when he stopped thinking of it as his way out of his real job. And then that way he was able to detach from his money emotionally and actively take good trades. Before we start this interview, I would just like to ask you to please subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to on. And once you do that, let's start the episode. So how was your day?
It was good, actually. I was a bit busy with my stuff and didn't trade much, but I had this one trade, SOLY. Did you guys trade that too?
I personally didn't, but that was a big mover for sure. Did you long it, or were you trying to short that?
No, I shorted it 13.50, and I was having a very busy day today, and I was like, fine, you know what? I'm gonna manage it, and I'll put a stop loss at the break even. So I checked it, and it was like down to 11.40 or something, and I was like, okay, that's fine. This is gonna get more directional in the power hour. So I left, and I came back, and it was at 12.50 or something. So I just started getting out slowly. So it ended up more like a break-even trade. Those ones hurt the most. Yeah,
they are emotional killers there.
Yeah, and it's running after hours. It's testing almost 17 now, so
it's insane.
Beyond all-time highs. That's a pretty crazy daily chart if you look at it. Went from pretty much all-time lows to now all-time highs in under a day.
Yeah. 17 was a clear level, and then it was consolidating, but it was trending high within that channel. If I were at my computer today, I would have scalped it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times at least. But that's how it works.
Yeah, awesome. So why don't you just tell us and the listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, how you discovered trading, and how you trade nowadays.
It's a long story, actually. I'm living in Norway, Scandinavia, and I came to study here. I'm originally from Pakistan. I came to study here when I was 17, 18, and I chose a business school which was actually, they had a financial economics program which was rated number 2 in Europe. So I was already very much interested in accounting, and that's what I wanted to do, because I used to read a lot of Warren Buffett and always checking this list of billionaires and see how he made his money. So accounting was my thing, and that's what I wanted to do. So that's why I chose a business school, and I wanted to study finance. And I took a bachelor's degree in finance. I specialized in finance, and I studied a lot of accounting, a lot of statistics. It's a typical undergrad program. This thing with efficient market hypothesis, it really got me, because we used to do this test called Jensen's Alpha, where we take returns from mutual funds and see how many mutual funds are actually beating the market. And no one was actually doing that. So it got me even more interested in finance as more I started studying finance, the challenging nature of it, and my personality, because I've always been this type of a kid who would think a lot, and I would play a lot of video games. I liked solving puzzles. I like to be a detective, you can say, detective work, finding things, treasure hunt, something like that. This intellectual nature of finance really got me. And what I did is that I kept reading. I would buy books. I would sit in the library. I would read about all these big investors, and I would keep looking at markets. I'll read annual reports. I will be on Yahoo Finance almost all day long. And my first trade, I remember, it was GRRF, China Green Tech. It was a Chinese ADR, and I borrowed some money from my friends, And what I would do is that I would only play earnings plays because that's what I would think that time, that actually it's earnings that move the markets or move the stocks at least. So I would make these spreadsheets and I would create these discounted cash flow models and accounting models and then read financial statements and read management discussion and analysis and see who the analysts are and call them and read their reports and see their EPS projections and industry analysis and all this proper fundamental analysis. And I did that on China Green Tech, and I told a friend of mine that, you know what, I have listened to their conference calls, I have talked to their CFO, I have called investor relations, I have read the analyst reports, and I've talked to analysts as well. And I'm telling you that they are going to report killer earnings. And we put everything in that, whatever money we had, him and myself, we put in that. And next day they report earnings pre-market and stock goes up 67%. So we got hooked, like, wow, here we can make a lot of money. So that's kind of how we started trading, and we were playing earning plays, but they were not working all the time. So China Green Tech was actually, that's where I started. And all these Chinese plays, if you remember, I think the Lion.com, Superman was actually very good by that time. He used to write lots of analysis and he would trade the similar stocks what he did. That was a kind of my journey where it all started.
Were you doing mainly earnings plays because there's a lot of movement in the market during those times? During earnings season, was that your main reason kind of behind it?
Yeah, actually, as I told you, I was studying a lot of value investing. I was not interested in trading or any type of short-term speculation. I was more interested in investing, and I was totally against technical analysis. I believe that this head and shoulders and these support resistance lines, mumbo jumbo, it doesn't work. Totally in denial of technical analysis. But that's how the story develops, that's how I developed as a trader. What happened later on is that I would keep building these type of financial models for the companies I was investing because it's a lot of corruption in small caps. If you read footnotes to financial statements of Apple, which is one of the biggest companies in the world, you will understand more things than some of these small caps because they don't want you to understand their accounting. It's so many complex, difficult accounting practices they engage themselves in is that they don't want you to understand. So it was a lot of corruption. And what happened is that I would make these models. I would realize that, okay, that's much earnings they're going to report, and that's how the stock is going to move. I would make all my models, and what would happen that they would report their earnings, and the stock would go down. There I learned a very important lesson, actually, is that in market, nothing happens if market doesn't react to it.
So when you were doing all this, was this after you graduated from your bachelor's degree?
I was actually doing with my schooling. I was still a student.
Did you ever have like a job after your education, or was trading enough for you to jump into that full time?
After I finished my bachelor's degree, I had lots of problems finding a job. And then I went and I took CFA exam because CFA it's American actually. They call it the gold standard in finance industry. And I wanted to work more in wealth management, anything with mutual funds or hedge funds, portfolio management. That's what I took. And I have worked for very different types of industries recently, but trading has always been my passion.
So you're trading along with other streams of income, basically. You're not just trading full time. Cool. Okay.
Exactly. In 2013, I had a job. I was working for an insurance company. I also had which had something to do with trading as well. And from there, I went to work for you can say we were trading oil-related products. And after that crisis in oil market, I lost my job. And actually, I was very unfortunate because when I graduated from my undergrad, it was already financial crisis. That was in 2008 and 9. So the job market in Europe, especially in Norway, it's almost nothing. But if you want to work in finance in Europe, you want to go to London. But in Norway, we had very limited jobs anyway. But after financial crisis, we had almost nothing. Deep inside me, anyway, I never wanted to work for anyone. I just wanted to work for myself. And I loved trading, but trading was risky, and I was not consistent. I had these plays, they would work, they would not work. So I was still finding myself, how am I going to become a better trader? This transition from fundamental analyst to technicals, that's where all the change came.
Yeah. So how did you make that transition? Did you, find some chat rooms out there? Did you start just watching YouTube videos? How'd you learn technical analysis?
I read a lot of books. I read this book, Market Wizards, the first one, where Jack Schwager interviews Richard Dennis. And in his interviews, he asks him that, do you follow fundamentals or do you only trade technicals? And Richard Dennis says that he actually doesn't follow any fundamentals. He doesn't read any reports, and he doesn't read any trading journals. He trades just based off charts. And he had this amazing track record. He took, like, I think, if I remember correctly, was it $400 to $200 million in 10 years or something? That's what Richard Dennis did. And then Ed Sikota, Michael Marcus, Bruce Kavanagh, Paul Tudor Jones, Marty Schwartz. Marty Schwartz had compounded return of 25% for 10 years. That was 25% per month with a worst drawdown of 3%. And I read his book as well, and he says that he completely changed, because he was a financial analyst, so I could relate a lot to him. He was a financial analyst, and he transitioned completely from a fundamentals trader to a technical trader. After reading all these people, because I wanted, sometimes you need to see that other people are doing it, how they are doing it. So when I read about these people, it opened my eyes to another world, because before I was only reading value investing. I was reading Benjamin Graham, I was reading Warren Buffett, I was reading Seth Klarman, I was reading David Tepper, I was reading Joel Greenblatt. And then I read something very important in market visits, that all these traders who found success, they had these crazy stories, because they had lost lots of money in the beginning, and they dealt with depression, and you had traders which wanted to kill themselves, and all the problems they had been through. And they found success finally when they found something which matched their personality, a trading style which found their personality. And I started looking at myself, because I was not I don't have patience at all, I'm this fast decision maker. I don't like to wait for things. I'm not the type of guy who would play GTA. I'm more like a modern warfare type of a guy. And I hate to write messages. I would rather call, because I don't have patience. It's always, I'm on the run. So, and I hate slow people, even my colleagues, even all the works I have done. I love speed. So I realized that, actually all these things which I have been doing, they don't match my personality at all, and I don't enjoy it. I like action, and I like fast things, and I like this type of trading style that these people are doing. So what I did is that I started reading a lot of technical analysis. I went to the CMT, Certified Market Technicians program, and I saw the recommended books. I ordered those books, and I started eating them. I started reading Dow theory. I would start reading some research papers from all these technical indicators people had developed. I read this book on Bollinger Bands and started testing it with different standard deviations. At the end of the day, just to make the story short, I realized that they were not working. None of them were working. That was not my personality, because a part of my personality is very simple. Then I read L. Brooks. I don't know if you guys have heard about him. Yeah, he has written 3 books on technical analysis. Him and Steve Neeson, those are the 2 guys I always recommend to new traders. You should read Steve Neeson first, his Japanese Candlestick book, and you should read L. Brooks afterward. And don't believe everything they teach you. Just pick the things you think you can use. That's where I learned all my technical analysis. And then I have traded multiple markets. I've traded futures, I've traded oil futures, I've traded S&P futures, I've traded German DAX, I've traded treasury bonds, I've traded currencies, I have traded small caps, I trade large caps, blue chips, everything, And what I do now is that I just go where volatility is, and I love volatility. I love strong directional moves, and I trade them. And it can be any market, from cryptos to large caps to small caps.
So at this point in your trading, you mentioned obviously that technical analysis has become a very important part. Do you still use fundamentals to help make decisions, though?
Now what I do is that I also scalp a lot. As I was telling you guys today, that on this ticker symbol SOLY, if I were at my computer today, I would be scalping it. So what I do now is, if I would break it down to you, my trading, sometimes I would go and look for fundamentals. Actually, I'm trying to trade the stocks where a fundamental shift has happened. And that's what happens every day, When we look at our scanners every day, there's something moving. It's either a biotech stock or an earnings play or a contract winner or a government investigation or an offering or anything, A fundamental change has happened. Because I believe at the end of the day, it's fundamentals which move the markets. But then what happens is that, let's say an earnings play has happened, a company has reported quarterly earnings, and what happens that news hits, traders start buying. The market's always trying to find the fair value for stock, The companies, the traders are more interested in future fundamentals, what has happened now, So any guidance or something has happened, they are speculating against it. And then momentum traders come in, and they just take the stock far away from fundamentals. And when that level comes, like SOLY today, no fundamentals mean nothing. It's just price and price and price. Yes, it will come back to its fundamental fair value in a week or a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. But intraday, stocks can move far away from their intrinsic value. Coming back to your question, I try not to look at fundamentals when I trade intraday. But anything I'm holding overnight, because I also build positions and I also swing trade, anything I'm holding overnight, fundamentals become very important for me.
So recently you've joined the My Investing Club. So I was curious if you could talk about, your experience with them and how that has recently changed how you approach the markets and chat rooms in general.
It's actually very funny because MIC, I have joined Timothy Sykes before. No disrespect to Tim. I think he's a great guy and the work he's doing with the charities and everything. He has contributed a lot to the trading community. I just found out that I wouldn't get any value for that, but just individual, because that's kind of the type of person I am. I just make very individual decisions. If I think I have to, if anyone is typing something that, okay, this ticker symbol is going somewhere, I don't want to look at that because it just interferes with my individual decision making. So MIC, I had joined MIC in January this year because I've been following Modern Rock Bao for some time now on Twitter. I loved his quotes. I love the way he trades, and his Twitter is very funny, and he's a real guy. They launched it last year, and I was thinking that, okay, maybe he's joking, because he would always come up with this joking that how to make billions DVDs, he's launching that and this and that. So for some time I was thinking, this is actually just a joke. But then I just checked them out and it was real, because he had actually started a service, a chat room. So I became a member in January, and I would be very silent of sitting on sidelines, not contributing with nothing, just looking every day what they were doing. And I just happened, like with any other chat room, with even Nate and Investors Underground, that I realized that, it's not adding any value to me. So I wanted to quit. I sent this message to Tosh that, I would like to cancel my subscription. And what he did, I don't know what happened. Some technical issues happened, and my subscription didn't get canceled. And I just sent him a message again that, my card has been charged again. You guys have not canceled my subscription. And he said, just give me some time and I will sort it out. Give us a couple of days or something. And in those couple of days, I started looking at MIC. And I realized that actually they had this after hours channel, and they had this amazing people, helping each other. Even if you look at the community, the types of traders are in there. You have all different types of people trading markets, and the level of understanding they have about the markets. Like we have Chicago trader, he's very good with fundamentals. We have Bao, he is a very, very good technical trader. We have Harry, some has been on your podcast as well. He's a very good long trader. We have Bear, James, D. Oliver, and a lots of members. Scott, very good. All these people, they're very good at what they're doing, and they're always trying to help you. Every day some other guy is doing some back testing, or making a new spreadsheet, or making a rule, or we discussing trading psychology, or we discussing trades. So I become very active now. Actually, I'm one of the most active members of MIC recently, and I'm not thinking to quit anytime soon. I think I'm in for life now.
So now, has MIC? You said this all happened a few months ago, right? With that the issue that turned into something that worked out for you? You said that was a few months ago, correct?
Exactly.
In that past few months, has the way that you trade changed at all? Or have you kind of just kept doing the same, or been trading the same way you've been trading, just using different mindsets and different opinions now?
Actually, it has changed a lot because I talk to a lots of people every day, and I see how Bao trades, I see how Alex trades, and all these good traders. There's so many good traders in that room. It has definitely changed me to be a better trader. Absolutely, yes. I learn something new every other day, and not something, because this is what I tell to new traders as well, that the biggest problem with the new traders is not that you're not doing something, you're just doing too much of the wrong thing. You have to cut the noise, you have to get the knowledge which you can directly apply to your trading. And that's what I've learned at MIC, and I can tell you that every other day I learn something new. We have this chart recaps. If you only look at the setups the traders are trading, just train your subconscious mind. You don't have to sit and copy or screenshot everything. Just go through them, every single day, good or bad trades. You'll find trends, like how people are shorting pops, or how people are shorting VWAP, or how they are going long from breakouts, or how they are trading ranges and all that thing, because they're different types of traders. So what I have done in my trading is that I have read a lots of people, and I have always picked something from someone, and I've tried to mold it into my personality. I've tried to do it in my way. You understand?
Yeah.
So speaking of new traders, as you said, you were pretty active in MIC. Are there any other just frequent mistakes that you see a lot of new traders doing over and over again?
I have a lot to say about new traders, actually. What I think is that now every one of us is very focused on how to become good at trading, isn't it? You get a statistical edge. It's not that you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what, that's the stock I'm going to buy, or that's the stock I'm going to sell. Because every successful trader or investor or speculator or a market participant, as Fed would like to say it, they have a method, of doing things. So what's the recipe of a good trader is you have found a statistical edge and you've tested it through different markets. Then you have a discipline to follow your rules, to follow it. And then you hold your winners and you cut your losses short, this type of things, and you become a good trader, isn't it? That's very easy. Just Google it, go to YouTube, what makes a good trader? You'll find a lot of answers. So sometimes I look at the opposite thing. What makes a bad trader actually? In my eyes, a bad trader... No, I was talking to a trader yesterday as well, and I told him something, if I can remember it correctly. I forget things very fast. I told him that a bad trader is someone who has lots of internal conflicts within his personality. He looks at trading as his way out. He has some kind of addiction problems. Can be anything. Markets can be very addictive. He lacks emotional stability. He has very strong beliefs about things instead of having flexible beliefs. He is one part of another, not very organized or structured in his life. And he has very little protection from stress. And that makes a bad trader. We all know what makes a good trader. So I tell people that how my trading improved is that I built a very carefree attitude towards money. It's easy to say than do it. I have built a carefree attitude towards money. I care a lot about money, but at the same time, it's the present moment, because we are either living in the past or in the future. I want to seek happiness in the present. That's everything. If I'm not happy today, that $1 million trading account is no guarantee that it's going to make me happy in life.
That's beautiful. Aside from just detaching your emotions from money, what are some other philosophies that you think have made you successful in the stock market?
I live with this belief. When I tell this to people react very differently. And I say it at MIC every day that I believe that, and that's just personal, it's not the same for everyone. I believe that I'm never going to master markets. Every day is going to be a war, and every trade is going to be a war. And it's actually a battle for me every day. I remember I heard this interview from LX21, and he said that even being that successful, he finds that being consistently profitable is extremely challenging. And I feel the same. I still find every day that being consistently profitable is very challenging and it's very difficult. We're walking on landmine, a small mistake here. In this career, your one decision can ruin you. So what I have done is that I tell this to other people all the time. You have to know yourself. You have to find your trading style. Of course, you're seeing what Bao is trading, what Alex is doing, or what Joe is doing every day, or what Madaz is doing every day, Max on Twitter, or any great trader out there is doing. You cannot trade like them because you're not like them. We are not created equally. We are different, because this world would be a very messed up place if we were all the same. So I was like, know yourself first, know your trading style, know a path to success, know the path to success. Learn to take losses, because you cannot eliminate losses. You can only minimize them, And on the technical side of trading, in the starts, you got to learn technical analysis, fundamental analysis, whatever that is. You got to learn trade management, because that's very important. Today I was trading with Tom Diesel. He's a very active member on MIC, and we had this Roku trade. I don't know if you guys seen it today. It was the first red day. He was shorting it, and I told him, you know what, don't cover. And he was like, I want to take gains. I was like, no, you got to let it go. The chart has not been broken. You got to squeeze as much money as you can out of this trade. Let it run. So it was falling and falling and falling and falling, and we almost covered everything at the bottom. I'm not saying that you could do it every day, but trade management, as you get experience, becomes more important than your entries, and position sizing as well. You know how to size into your trades, how much you want to risk, like how to size up and when to size up. That becomes very important.
Yeah, and that's something we've heard a lot on our podcast from people we've talked to, is that, anyone can learn how to trade and technical analysis, but managing your emotions and learning how to stay in a trade, when to get out of trade, that's some of the most important stuff. That's how you're going to grow your account or blow up your account.
Exactly.
So something I found interesting when we talked before this was you said you go into the trading day kind of like a boxing match. So there's like rounds of like 15 minutes in your head. So I was curious if you could just explain that to the listeners and give us some insight into your mindset there.
Yeah, I think my wife's going to laugh a lot if she's going to listen to this. So what I do is that when I even clean home, I was a kind of person that I had a problem with multitasking. So even if I had to clean home, I would be like, I would be doing bed sheets, I'll be doing dishes, I'll be doing clothes at the same time. That would get quite messy at times, So I read this book. What is it called? The Way of Seal. The way SEALs, how they manage their days and how can they be more effective. So I realized that I can break all these big tasks into small tasks, and I do a lot of single tasking instead of multitasking. So what I do is that if I'm trading I trade a lot of pre-market as well, but not always I trade pre-market. But when I'm trading probably first hour, and if I have positions which are in my favor and they have gone huge into my favor, I will probably hold them and say, if I'm short a stock, then probably that stock's going to fade all day, so I'll take some profit off and leave maybe 50% or something. But apart from that, a lot of trading for me is done in that 1 hour. So what I do is that for you, it doesn't matter what you're thinking right now or what your mental state is tomorrow, isn't it? Or what your mental state has been yesterday. What's important is that what your emotional or mental state is at the time when you're trading, when you're making those trading decisions, right? If you have this thing in your head that, you know what, I'm going to be focused this 1 hour and I'm going to be staying disciplined and patient. It's a difficult task. It's like meditating for 1 hour, It's not easy. You're going to be distracted by something. Maybe someone calls you. Maybe something happens, anything can happen. Any type of distraction, which can take your thoughts away or something. So what I do is like going in a boxing match, you want to keep your guards up. You don't want to keep your guards down. That's what the first thing they teach you in the boxing classes when they go. You cannot you cannot let your hands go down, because if your hands are down, you're going to get knocked out. You're going to get a concussion or something. You're going to get a hook punch and it will hit your brain. Your brain is going to hit inside your head and you're going to get knocked out. Keep your guards up, no matter what. Even if you're getting a body shot, keep your guard up. So that's what I do. I break my 1 hour trading day into 15 minutes intervals. So in that 15 minutes, I have written down some emotions which I struggle the most with. My problem is that when I start painting a picture about a trade, any stock like Apple, if I'm trading Apple, Apple has some kind of shift in fundamentals and is running, and I will look at Apple and I will like, you know what, that's where the stock should go. That thing which should, could, would, it kills you in the markets. So I don't like to expect things. I'm more like a reactive trader than a predictive trader. You understand? So what I'm doing is that in those 15 minutes, I'm protecting myself from myself. So when that first 15 minutes are gone, I write them down over. Next 15 minutes, I don't think about those 15 minutes. What has happened has happened. Let's go to the next 15 minutes. Next 15 minutes, the next 15 minutes. So I keep breaking them down. I'll go to even 10 minutes or 5 minutes, So that's just something which I do personally. It works for some people, it doesn't work for some people. But personally for me, I can focus much better on these intervals. So that's something which I have developed recently when I'm making active decisions. And apart from that, I think the more trading decisions your trading style requires, the more mentally difficult it becomes. Everyone has to find something which works for them. That's something which works for me.
Now, how did you come up with that? Was that something that you said that was from the book, that book that you had read earlier, but were there any other factors that kind of, helped you break down your day like that to have a process?
I think a lot, and that's a problem. That could be a problem. That could be a problem in trading, I think a lot. I keep coming with these solutions. I meditate where I think, I want to silence this monkey mind, this chatterbox inside me, but sometimes it gives me these ideas. So, of course, probably, I've read it somewhere too, but you do it in professional sports all the time, even if you're playing any types of sports. This is what coaches tell you, you have to break your process down and focus at the moment, you don't have to be thinking about next 15, 20 minutes. Just think what you're doing right now, This second, this minute is the most important thing because things change. So that's what I have done. I've taken something from the sports and I have implemented it into my trading. So those 15 minutes, my guards are up. And even today, when I was on the phone with a few traders, and I was telling them, don't think about that profit, don't think about that loss. Just make your decisions. Don't think about anything. Just keep looking at the market. Get up, go out from your room, come back. Zoom out your charts, look at the big picture, see what market's telling you, because it's telling you a story. Don't go with your beliefs and see that market should do because it wants to do what it wants to do, So that's the kind of things I do for those in small intervals. I just break my day down and I basically just protect myself from myself. That's the whole purpose.
I love that. I mean, I think we found our episode title there too, But what is something you wish you knew before you started in the stock market?
Wow, that's $1 million question.
Yeah, isn't it?
It is. You probably get a lot of traders who tell you that we love trading. I love trading too. I think every trader who has seen so many ups and downs and higher highs and lower lows of financial ruins will tell you that they love markets. But the problem is that if you look deeply, what type of people trading attracts? The people who like risk, the people who like action. So people do crazy things, to find thrills in their life. They go climb these crazy mountains, they swim those rivers, they get lost in jungles, they do all types of crazy things. So trading is very thrilling, And that brings me to an important point as well, that a lot of risk actually which we bring to the trading, it's from yourself. The traders themselves bring a lot of risk with them to the market because it's a very thrilling endeavor. It gets you in that zone where you forget about every other thing in life and you're just focused on your positions. And, oh my God, what's this stock going to do? I don't care if I'm getting divorced or something. I just care what my position's going to do, And the time comes when the game becomes much more important than money. So the problem is that trading is very addictive. People get addicted to the markets, and I was addicted to the markets. I still am addicted to the markets, and when you're addicted to the markets, it becomes very difficult to step back. And truth be told, a lot of money in trading is made waiting, not trading. So patience is, if you have a pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid for trading is patience. You just gotta wait and do nothing, And that becomes very difficult when you're looking at your quotes every single day. many hours a day. So I had this problem, which I wish I knew before I started trading, and I was addicted to trading. And I was looking a way out. And trading, if you are looking trading as your way out and you have financial problems, you're playing with fire. Because every single time you're going to take a hit in the market, it will bring you down and it will take you to that place and you will blame yourself. It will test all the worst emotions in your psychology because you will feel, oh my God, I'm a failure. I cannot do anything. But the truth is, the trading it is like that, you know. The best of the best traders are they're losing money, you know. Everyone loses money in trading. It's a cost of doing business, but it becomes very difficult to detach yourself when you're addicted to markets.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice, and I think it's something that a lot of traders probably would like to know before they start trading too. Now, unless you've got anything else that you kind of want to add or say, we're going to start wrapping this episode up. So is there anything else that you want to put out there for our listeners to hear?
Yeah, of course. We have learned something, and I talked to some traders in MIC as well, is that one of the biggest things which contributed to my consistency in trading, number one was that knowing your personality. Everyone knows that. You know what type of trader you are. And what I did that, I advise everyone, especially new retail traders, is to get broker-assisted risk controls activated on your account. You want to have limits for maximum daily loss. You want to have limits of maximum position size you are trading in dollar amount, not per share. And you want to be able to adjust those after good and bad periods. Because you probably listen to this that a stop loss is earned or a size is earned. You know, as long as we have a head which likes to think, it's a very huge chance to blow yourself up. If it's not happening now, it's going to happen in 6 weeks. It's going to happen in 6 months or 2 years. You never know. So I don't trust myself. I have broker-assisted risk controls activated. I always trade with this security. So for the new traders, if they can just hang in there, they can live to play another day, their markets will come when it will be very easy to make money. But those markets are not always there. So as every trader would tell them, risk management, risk management, risk management, risk management. That's the number one thing they need to focus on.
Perfect. And then kind of going back to what you said earlier, that ties into that whole patience thing, you know, wait for your market to come. And if you can stay patient and wait for it, that's when you're going to make your money.
Exactly. You know, and that becomes difficult when you're addicted to markets, you know.
Absolutely, Matt, and I know that.
Yeah, so what's next for you, you know, in terms of your trading or life? Do you have any side businesses going on? What are your plans going forward?
You know, I have, actually, this is something I wanted to discuss about. I was like, my trading improved a lot when I stopped looking at trading as my way out. I have side businesses. I have a retail store from a chain called Norgesgruppen in Norway. And I have a Circle K station. Apart from that is that I trade full-time, but it's not like I don't think I trade full-time, and I don't want to trade full-time. I want to trade part-time. I want to trade when opportunity is there, you know, and when opportunity is not there, I don't have to trade. It can take a year. I can stay out a year. That's no problem. It's always something happening with the markets. I'm doing training with SMB now. I bought their DNA program. Recommend it to everyone. I'm serious about trading. Very good. I keep reading about trading. I think I'm going to keep reading all my life. Trading makes me a better person, makes everyone a better person, because the way it makes you self-reflect, I don't think there are any other endeavor in life which you never meet yourself, you know, before you have started trading. So that's what I tell people, you know, you're finally going to meet yourself. You've never met yourself. Now you're going to meet yourself. Explore new markets, explore new opportunities. There's always something happening in the world to create opportunities, and we can profit from that. That's how the nature of the business is.
Absolutely. And so do you mind if we ask you one more quick question, kind of building off of that? Do you think that trading has changed your personality, or have you changed your personality to meet your trading goals?
Absolutely, because I didn't look at myself like this before, after I started trading. Because I just realized that the most difficult thing in life is actually to control yourself. So if you can somehow be able to manipulate your mind, you can do amazing things with that. You know, imagine that if you're a student and you can somehow convince your mind to sit on your desk and study for 10 hours, because at the end of the day, that's the mind which is making the decision. It's going to tell you, you know, the temptation is going to come in. You know what? Now let's study 3 hours. Give up, quit. So everything in life is just 80% mental. So Of course, yes, trading has definitely changed me in a better way.
Definitely. This has been a great conversation. And I mean, I love just all your experience and the insight that, you've shared with us today.
A lot of philosophical ideas, psychology behind it.
That's what I realized too, because I trade markets also very technical, but I've always felt that that's the mental side, which is the very difficult side to master. And at the end of the day, that's going to make or break you. If you cannot master yourself, you have nothing to do in the markets, because sooner or later, it's going to come and take you. So we learn through life, we learn through these lessons, and we learn through all our experiences, and we bring all those emotions to the markets, and somehow or another we have to express ourselves, and that's what I do. I talk to traders and tell them, you know what, I'm very frustrated. I have this massive FOMO because I have missed this, what was this stock which Donald Trump tweeted about? I missed it. I wanted to short it, and it just left from me, because I never got filled. So what I did is that I went to my paper trading account, and I was trading $1 million positions, I was just getting my frustration out. So I tell everyone that, you have to express yourself, because if you don't, sooner or later it's going to come to your trading. And it's going to cost you money, lots of money, because just a personal expression. Trading is all personal expression.
Awesome. Oh, Matt, were you talking or no?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, that's all we had today. And I love talking to you. Where can the listeners find you on Twitter?
I managed to keep a very low profile. I'm not very active on Twitter, but if they want to find me on Twitter, it's Agent47 MUUT138. It's my Twitter handle.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all we had. It was awesome talking to you, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on today.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Hey guys, this is Matt again, and thanks for listening to the entire episode with Agent 47. As usual, if you have any questions, concerns, or recommendations for us, please check out beyondthepdt.com and let us know how we can improve this show. Aside from that, we'll see you next Wednesday.